Good morning, cool cats and kittens. Give me a minute to get set up. Good morning, everybody. All right, let's drop this down and let's get to it. A lot to go over, I think, and then we'll go from there. Good morning. So you're going to hear me. Hold on one second. Let me just get this going and we'll go from there. Make sure I got this done. And I do. Did I drop that in? Give me 1 second. I think I forgot to do something. I did. I forgot to do something. I thought so. 1 second, guys. And then we'll go from there. Sorry. Boop. Boop. Okay, good. Couple things to go over that I think are really important. Number one, you really don't want to tell the market when it's done going up. You don't want to do that. You just kind of have to let it happen. When it stops going up, it stops going up. It does get a little frothy. I'm not seeing any signs of it stopping. I mean, that's the whole thing. Like if I take a look right here at that MACD, I don't see any signs of it. I do see this, and I think it's worth pointing out. People, it's funny when I read the comments sometimes in the videos, they're like, well, you're not telling us what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So the one thing I would say is that people are, you're way over on the RSI, which I look at. And if you look at these, it's not when you're over that matters. It's when it starts coming back down, you want to pay attention to, and then it depends how much you come down. But yeah, this is getting pretty up there. It's certainly getting up there. It's probably one of the highest readings that you've ever had, but you've got reason for it actually. Usually what it will do is it'll sell off at some point and then provide an opportunity to get in. And that's kind of where, hold on one second, let me just click over on that as well. And that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that kind of, that opportunity. Let me see what this one does. Perfect. I'm looking for that kind of opportunity for the pullback, and I don't know when we get it, if we get it. Now, if we just look at the basics and go again and take a look at the Qs, yeah, let's get rid of that for a sec and just drop these down. You're going to note, like, same spot, same soup, different day, right? This was Monday, and then this is the end of Monday, and then you never really were able to come back from that. And then you'll note this level right here where it was resistance, and resistance becomes support. I don't really know that you need much more than that today. I mean, you can have other levels, and you have data coming out at 8:30, jobless claims, which we'll have to go over. But if you look right in here, you can see it as well, right? So that might be the next level that you might want to see if we crack. I'm not so sure that we're going to, but you got to start being like super careful, in my opinion, about just running in here. So what I like to do when we're bidding up like this is I like to find days or find things that I own that I can take profits in. So I own a bunch of this, and we've done really well with it. I think we're going to be up like 100 points. I don't see a reason for me to do anything with it. I already trimmed some, but you're going to hit a point here where you're going to have to start like pulling, in my opinion. And I could be, again, you don't know how it's going, but I pull money out. Like I don't play games. I'll find another way in, right? That's the whole thing with me. Like I will always be pulling money out. I'm not going to wait for that sell down. And a great example, that's what happened last week. If you're not selling, some Dell at 54 and it goes to 49, you don't know that it's coming back, especially when you're this high up. It could take you a month, which is, there's nothing wrong with if that's what you're looking for. Look at the SPY too. I mean, are you breaking out? Yeah. Is it going to last? Maybe. Nobody knows, man. Like, anyone that's telling you they know what's going to happen, just run away screaming, because no one really knows. But they would be the big levels that I would look at. I think that they're pertinent. I will get into the futures, and we will get into like the private cloud and everything. But if we go and take a look at that, I mean, I'm not really like, what value am I really adding? Oh, we're going higher. There's not really a tremendous amount that I'm adding there if you take a look at this. So what I would say is from June on, you've been green. You flipped in June and it's never looked back. And so I always do pay attention to things like that. And I think that's very telling. Sell in May and go away. How'd that work out? Some of these statements are so dumb. But if you look at that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, all they're doing is stepping you up over and over and over again. And we did become the only game in town with what was going on globally. How long that's going to last, that remains to be seen. But you see the double tap here, and then you lift it. So there's not, again, much to say or do. In my opinion, you just leave it alone. Let it do what it's going to do. I really don't see a sense in why you would bet against this. I truly don't. It seems kind of stupid, in my opinion. So It's the same thing I've been saying when people said NVIDIA was going to stop going up. I was like, okay, like, why would you even try to predict that? Like, what? I mean, that's a total ego thing, right? I'm not going to buy it. It's too expensive. Okay. Is it still too expensive? When it takes out Microsoft and becomes the biggest company in the world, is it too expensive? I don't know. That's up for you guys to answer for yourselves. But we're going to watch this data come out in 4 minutes. Jobless claims is going to be important. I would also tell you to watch the bond market today and watch the 11:30 and 1 o'clock time frame. I think that they're going to be really important. Swiss National Bank did reduce. So this is telling me 27, and you're already on fire. You're already lining up to go. So, but I do think that's important to just get out there that the Swiss National Bank reduced. Seems like everybody wants to reduce. And then we're going to kind of have to go out there and see what happens with the UPST is actually moving ahead of the number. That's kind of weird. I wonder why these guys are moving. No earnings? Did you have earnings? Is that what it is? You had earnings. I guess they were good, or they're coming up Thursday. And maybe they were good, or maybe they're already out. I don't know. But that's getting a lot of attention this morning. So, I can't figure out for the life of me, not this, but they can't sell Google fast enough. It's kind of weird. Like, they really can't, like, every single rally on Google is being sold. Look at Amazon too. Like, all these rallies, they just constantly are selling them. Meta's holding, but the others, they just keep dumping. Apple, we keep hearing about the rebalance. I think the rebalance is an issue. Might be more of an issue because people think it's an issue, but it's definitely becoming an issue. That's for sure. So DuPont, I can do DuPont. Yeah, I mean, I like it. The fact that they're splitting up into 3 different companies, I don't think people, it's so funny when this stuff happens. I'll wait for that data to come out and then I'll go through it, tell you what it is. Got more buyers in SMCI, people actually stepping in and buying it. So, this is so interesting to me because this is where Peltz got involved on the board, like back here. I think it was like back here. It was literally a decade ago. I don't think it was here. I think it was like in here. And it was like 10 years ago, he got involved and told the company to split into 3 distinct companies. And they fought him. They fought him for a decade. And now they're doing exactly what he said to do. Like, literally exactly what he said to do. And, it's interesting. But I do like the name a lot. If you're just looking for like a low beta name that kind of hang out with, I think it makes a lot of sense. I really do. Let's take a look at this. What else do we have? All right, good. Other than that, the Tesla volume was really interesting the other day, but you got no momentum. I'm seeing a lot of volume on this little guy. I really don't know why, but the volume, if I look at that heat map, has just been off the charts. So I don't know why everybody's so giddy for this thing, but they are. They're really excited about it. Okay, data's starting to come out. Housing starts got crushed. Building permits are down. And jobless claims came in at 238, which is in line. Philadelphia business conditions dropped. Philly Fed prices are up. New orders are down. The big takeaway is going to wind up being, let's go take a look at what it did to the market. The big takeaway is going to be that, the people didn't lose their job. That's what I think the big takeaway is going to be. So initial jobless claims were supposed to be 235. They came in at 238, which is actually lower. That might show that this soft landing's out there and coming. Let me just see something. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like that's all they were waiting for. Now they're going to start buying some more names. I just started buying Micron. As soon as that hit, they bought Micron as soon as that hit. Man, they have a lot of expectations for Micron there, don't they? Like a lot. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, you're up 40% from last quarter now. Better be one heck of a quarter. That better be like the mother of all quarters. That's a lot built in there. There goes NVIDIA. And Dell probably lifted too, right? Yep. So I don't know, guys. I would just, I'd be super careful here. You got to trade them. You know, you got to be real careful not to just be buying, you know, off the open. You got to be super careful here. Super careful. You know, some of these names do look like they're going to rip, but I'm just looking at a volume scan when I look to the left. All right, let's get to it. I have time for questions today. I don't have, you know, that much that I'm going to really go through. Oh, that green light looks pretty good. I got like this big green light. What's up, Bob? Yeah, happy Thursday. I'll tell you what one I really like. I mean, I have so much in the video, I feel like I have to file at this point. And I actually even added, I mean, as you know, I added Friday even more, or Tuesday. The holiday threw me off big time, bigly. I really like this chart, like a lot. I really do. This is where I always struggle. Like I've been doing this 25 years. I'll just tell you, Lisa, like this is where I always struggle. It's like, I know there's a correction out there. I know there is. And so like, I always look at this and go, okay, do I want to get involved in something that doesn't fit my theme? And I have two major themes, right? Right now that are driving all this. And that doesn't fit any of them. So I always go, do I really want to get involved with it? Now, I had a trade the other day, did really well in, but I think the answer is yeah. Yeah, I do. I mean, this is big. Like this is not a small thing that it's doing. You know, you're setting up for all-time high closes. You get over this, what is the close here? 690, 690. You get over that. You're at an all-time high close, you know, and I know hindsight's a beautiful thing, isn't it? But pardon me, I'm gonna need way more caffeine. Give me a second. All right. I really like it. I guess I'm concerned. So I'm kind of holding off on it. Nothing, I don't mind cold coffee, but when you're drinking hot coffee and then it gets warm, that I have issue with. I really like this a lot. I really do. I think it looks great. I think it's acting great. It's acting better than any of the XLC names, Lise. It really is. It just doesn't really fit the themes I want to play. But we'll see how it goes. It's definitely on the list. What's up, John? I think you're going to have below average volume today. I think they're going to extend this into a 5-day weekend. I think you're going to have late volume today. I think you're going to have late volume Friday. And I think that they're partying all weekend. That's what I think is going to happen. Yep, Chewy looks great. It's definitely on the radar. I like these kinds of trades. My bigger issue is like, okay, I broke above and I failed. I tried and I failed, but you know, you're getting to a point where you've completely washed out. See how tight it is in here? And then you've broken above it with that kind of volume. You can try these. Sometimes they work. Like you can catch them and it really will work. I guess my issue would just be, do I really want to own this? Like, do I really want to own it? And I don't have an answer for that. So like, see that on the weekly, and then you're watching this breakout here. And I don't have an answer to that. That do I need to get involved here? Now, let me show you this on the daily. I do like the fact that you're getting across here, and it does mean that it is probably something that, you know, you probably are washed out, right? So like, you probably are really getting washed out here. You tried here and then it failed. You crossed down again here, but is it going to work? Is it not going to work? I mean, you're at pretty much like the puke level. I don't know. I don't really know that it's going to fall apart here. I mean, you had a decent quarter last time, and this was a wash, and it went. It stayed here. So when you always look at stuff like this, you're like, okay, I've got a year right after this blow up. I've got like a year of this thing or 9 months of this thing just basing here. And so sometimes what I think is helpful is to go out there and just look at like 12 months and say, okay, this is a 12-month chart. If you look at all this, you might be like, but laughing at that noise. But if I look this way and I look at 12 months and I put it in perspective, because you can't look at you really want to look at like 52 weeks, right? But if you look at it that way, it's way more appealing here than it was here, isn't it? So there might be something to that. I don't know why they're selling the bond market. Man, they're dumping a lot of Tesla this morning. Pfizer's being sued by Kansas, by the way. Boy, they're dumping Tesla. So I'll clean this over. So I do like it, John. I mean, I see what you see. I think sometimes when you take that look of like, give me 52 weeks, tell me what's going on, I think you get a different perspective. And maybe it's worth trying. It's not really my kind of trade here at that level. I'd like to watch it a little bit more, maybe form something and get involved. BBY. I just bought a TV from them. Let's see how it goes. I haven't bought a TV in it's got to be years. I bought a TV. I mean, it's kind of hard not like that, right? I mean, there's your base, fails, breaks out, retests, goes. I mean, there's very little to say there. I mean, that looks great. I mean, that's exactly what you're looking for. And you did it on big volume, and then you got this dividend coming up. Maybe after the dividend, people held it for the dividend. Maybe they blow it out, and then kind of goes from there. I mean, I could see why you're looking at that. I mean, it's a 2.5-year base right here, right? I mean, even here, look, like that's a big deal. And you can literally just use that bar and go, okay, well, if I broke there, I'm out. So I could see why people would be interested in that here. That does make sense to look at for sure. ELF, I had an okay trade the other day in it. I think you got to be super careful these names. I mean, this was a perfect re-entry right here. Breaks out, right? Failure, retest the 55, lifts up the 55, and then just goes. I mean, you're seeing a lot of stuff like that. Like watch ANF. ANF did the same thing, like curled, held that level, retried, formed a doji right here, right? And you don't have anywhere near the volume that you had here. What I should really do here is this, actually, right there on that bar. But you don't really have the volume there that you had on ELF, right? Like look at that break. So I tried that on Tuesday. I made a little money. Not a lot. I have a hard time buying the orb trades off the open. I do. I have a hard time buying the orb trades off the open. You got sellers out there in some of these names. I don't really understand why they're selling I'm trying to figure out why they would sell the Dow and the SOX they're selling too. So this goes. Oh, just locking stuff in beforehand? I don't know what they saw in that number. What did you see in that number? They saw something. I saw something they didn't like. What did you see? I'm just reading the news real quick, see if I'm missing something. Maybe it was the construction numbers. Maybe they don't like the construction numbers. It's the only thing I can think of. Let me go through them real quick. I mean, you're down a current account. I don't know, man. It seems to me that they're trying to find weird things like, oh, current account is off more than that. That seems to be where they're going with it. U.S. current account balance is down lower. It's like they're trying to find things, in my opinion. You got 65 new lows on Tesla before the market's even opened. I got to change this setup. I think they're trying to find stuff, but it can be anything. It could be anything that takes it down. There goes ARM. Okay, what do I got going on here? Give me a second, please. All right. So yeah, I don't know. I think they're being a little. I think they're being a little premature, but the bond market doesn't lie. So this current account number, like it seems like that's the new issue. It's just stupid. Like that's the thing. Let's go find the thing that we haven't paid any attention to whatsoever. I'll show you what they're doing. So what they're saying is, see how the current account and component balances, services, goods, current account, see how it's declined up, 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 and now it's declining, right? That's the reason for the sell-off. Seems like it's like a bunch of nonsense. I mean, okay, you were just there. And you could tell by how often it comes out, right? It's a quarterly thing. Well, it says it right there too, quarterly. So apparently that's the issue of the U.S. account, but whatever. I mean, I don't know how is that a shock? I mean, it ties in perfectly with what they just said with the CBO when the CBO just came out. So I mean, did they think the CBO was lying? All right, let's just get back to it. We'll go from there, but that's the issue. Alpha, I need some kind of pullback. Man, maybe I'll get it today. I think we are at a level where, remember this is the easiest way to say it. Remember that when you look at, like, here's the cues, right? and then you go, let me show you this, RSI, John. And then you go here and you go daily, right? And we'll clean up all my nonsense for a minute. You see where the RSI is, and people are like, oh, you're overbought. That's not really what RSI tells you. What RSI tells you is the magnitude of the move, right? So people, you say it's overbought, oversold. I think if you use it like that, you're going to drive yourself a little batty. I look at it telling me the magnitude of the move. And so this is telling you that the moves are going to be even greater. Where this runs into a problem is when it comes down. But yeah, I do think you are I wouldn't say frothy as much as I don't think people truly understand like the cycle that they're about to go through with semiconductors. Like everyone thinks that it's just going to go away, right? That's why nobody's really chasing. But even here, like on a third standard deviation, we hit it and then we kind of went sideways. Like watch this on the weekly. Like we hit it and then we're kind of riding it, right? And that's usually when you see that, like it doesn't last very long. Like you usually have some kind of pullback. I don't know if I would say frothy as much as just maybe we're a little ahead of ourselves, I guess is a better way I guess that's the way that I would say it. Could we be a little bit ahead of ourselves? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I'm like a cat in a hot tin roof with my stops right now. Ask people in the room. I'm like, I'm in, I'm out. Like, oh, I made money. All right, I'm out. You know, I'm not trying to get a button for holding stocks very long right now. Right. I don't want to be, really building positions here. I want to be looking for anomalies. I mean, I found a couple, but it is what it is. What's up, Jacob? Yeah, I'd be more interested. I think I prefer this. FLTW. Yeah, I wouldn't mind finding something like this, dude. I'm glad you brought it up. I'd like to find something like that is way more diversified into names that most people don't have access to. I think that's a much better way to go because the numbers, like I should have saved that, Jacob. I didn't. But the numbers, when I read Goldman's numbers on that and how they took them up and the way that they took them up, I was like, oof, like they really raised their numbers for 25 and 26. I mean, Taiwan Semi, think about it. Taiwan Semi on 3 nanometer is sold out right now out to 26. So they have to build capacity, but that means everybody around them is going to rally. And some of those names are going to rally way more than Taiwan Semi because they're smaller, right? So it's like turning a smaller ship. They can just motor. And I bet you that this has more access to what time is it? I bet you this, because I don't want to get too esoteric, but I bet you this has more access to, if it's Franklin, like I bet you they have more access to the smaller cap names in there. Jacob, I bet you do. I mean, it's pretty much tells you, right? Like if you bought the 21, now let's go take a look at 23. Yeah. I mean, it's telling you which one to buy, right? From 23 on. I mean, I don't know about 24. I go look at the hourly, and then what we can do is just drop it to 24 and take a look and see if there's any change from 24 on. There's a little bit, but it seems like the further the time frame that I go out, the more the disparity. So that's kind of interesting, isn't it? But like if I go out to 24, nothing. But the further I go out, the greater the disparity. Right? If I go from here over, I mean, you're always doing better than EWT, right? Like historically, you're always doing better than EWT. That's kind of interesting. Let's drop that out there. You're right, Jacob. Jacob's got a point. You're right. And it probably gives you access to names that no one has access to. Man, this is going to be a weird day. I brought this comment up a while ago that the correlations aren't there anymore. Not just this, but like, I mean, in the market, things are becoming more separated, which is actually good. I like that idea, Jacob. Yeah, I was looking at some of those names like Embarcadero. There are some French names out there that I really do like. I usually look at, I don't usually look at these. I would look at like EDR. Is that it? Endeavor? No, that's not it. I got to find Embarcadero. I'll find out later. I'm not going to buy it right now anyway. Or Airbus. I do agree with that. I like looking at Air Maze. Like, I think that makes sense here. And then Louis Vuitton. But I don't know that I want to do anything in France until I see that election. I mean, some of those elections, good Lord, like India. I mean, what an opportunity. I didn't do it. A bunch of people in the room did. But India, like, wow. And then you look at like EWW, Mexico, it's like, oh boy, So there's stuff like that. Man, some of these names they're just buying the hell out of. They just don't care. Excuse my language. I have this volume scan that I run every morning, and it just will trigger, like I can just sit there and watch it run like a ticker tape, and it'll just start showing me like, hey, this is above average volume pre-market. This is above average volume pre-market. It's just something I created a long time ago, and I just still use it. It's kind of interesting, but it shows me like where it's going, so I can just watch like what they're doing. And what's interesting is like they're dumping semis, but they're buying some other semis, but they're dumping semis overall. But then they're buying NVIDIA, they're buying Micron, they're dumping all the IGV names, right? Like they stopped buying like the HPE, even though it's bidding up right now. I'll show you. But like they stopped buying it, and then boom, like they're like, oh, we changed our minds. I'm kind of watching it, and then they just did the same thing with Micron. Like, oh, we're done buying it. No, just kidding. We're back. SMCI, like when you heard me go quiet there, I'm up like 95 points in it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it. I sell it, and now I'm up another 8. And this is why it's so important to scale out. I'm going to do a whole lesson on this. And I got a lot of questions, actually. I got a lot of questions about like, hey, you do a lot of information. Can you do education videos? Just educations on trading. So I'm going to start doing that on different time frames. I think I'm going to have one ready for tonight. It's just going to be a trade, walking through all the parts of that trade, and just straight up education. And I'm going to keep them like super short, like 8 minutes, 12 minutes. And then I'll be able to pack Saturdays. This is my game plan. And then Saturday's videos will be more intensive on information and more packed with information that you can use as a playbook during the week. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, guys. I mean, they completely reversed their position there. This was just halted. Yeah, planter they're buying. I'm not a big planter guy. It's funny. I get hate mail. Like I literally would get hate mail from people that are so angry at me. They're like, every time I ask you in the pre-market call about NVIDIA or about, boy, do I got the video on the brain. Every time I ask you about PLTR, you never talk about it. Why do you hate it so much? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's a me issue. It's not you, it's me. It's usually what I hear in my dating life. Let's get this out and get going and get more awesomeness. All right, cool. I would wait for that, Jacob. Oh, there it is. PLTR. I knew there's somebody. So it does look good. I mean, you do have a base there, and it does look good. What are they doing? Why are you selling the bond? Why are you selling bonds? What do you like for what? Like what was on there? Are you worried about the payments? You're going to have to watch the 5-year today, and you're going to have to watch You're gonna have to watch the 1 p.m. bond market today, and you got to watch the and the 11:30 bond market. Why are they buying the pot names? And why are you selling copper and silver? What a weird market. You know, the correlations changed drastically. You used to have all these correlations, and I saw it about a month or two ago. They were showing, Goldman had a really cool piece on how they're all unwinding. All these correlations are unwinding, but it makes your job better and harder at the same time. Boeing's got people in space, can't get them down. That's nice. They can't even find a CEO. Nobody wants the job. SMH, new low of the day. Like, how is SMH hitting lows and 20% of it is NVIDIA? Disney, I would avoid. I think Disney is going to be a disaster. I really do. I view Peltz walking away. Peltz would not have sold his stock if he thought he was going to make money off of it. Even though he lost the bid to like control the company, he wouldn't have sold. He would have just held it. That's what he does. Even if he loses, if he thinks they have a good plan and he can make money, he would have held it. He blew his entire position out. Stock's never lower. Remember when Ackman, you might not remember this, when Ackman sold JCPenney, he's like, if I thought they had a plan, I would have held it. And then JCPenney went to like 1. You know, they have egos, but they don't have egos when it comes to making money. What's up, brother? Yeah, I'd be super careful there, man. They can't find a CEO. They just had this guy in front of Congress where they're going to like yell at him and then do nothing. But you lose the 55, you're going to start losing institutional support here. You know, I bought it up here. I thought they were going to finally push it through. I made like $2 and got out of the way. It's a mess, man. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. He's got to be the board needs to fire the guy like ASAP and just fire the CEO like ASAP. What's up, Simply? Yeah, I saw that too, but then look at DPST this morning. It's falling out of bed. What's up, Steve? What's up, Z? What's going on, John? Oh, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't listen to everything I say. I'd be getting a tinfoil hat. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can and do that later today. 100%. I will take care of it. What do you got? All right, what else you got? Bro, those Vision Pro, even they're stopping with the Vision Pro. What's up? Oh, it's 9 already. All right, thanks, John. It's already 9 o'clock. Jesus. 1 second, guys. Could you share your volume settings? Yes. Can someone give me the name of the volume indicator? You could just use the one that's on there. I'll get it. There's a guy that created one that's very similar to what I use. I just changed a lot of his stuff. Let me see if I can find it for you guys now. But he created this one, and it's pretty darn close to what I have, unless you took it off. Let me see if I can find it. No, you'd be up top. There it is. Use that one. And then you can play with it. You can change the code, the colors, everything. It's actually fairly decent. The code's right here. I think you can still get in the code unless you closed it. But it's pretty decent. So I would you can just grab it. It's free. And I started with that one, and then I just changed some things on it. But I think the code's still open if there's things you want to change. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, I don't know. What's up? Yeah, ARM, I mean, all those names, like they're all going to just be super volatile and like you're going to be all over the place. There's very, very little for me to say or do except, tell you to settle in, right? Strap yourself in and get ready for, 14-point swings up and 14-point swings down. So if you're playing options, get your big boy pants because that's what you're gonna be dealing with. You got to get in and you got to get out when you can. Oh, you're welcome, Mike. I'm having a good time. Yeah, I think they could too, but it's funny because I found myself going there to watch more stuff, and I'm not sure why that is. I'm gonna have to jump here in a minute, guys. Let me get to the end of this and see what I'm missing, and go from there. New Dell. Let's go through these where we're at. I got that out. Good. All right. PLTR. I mean, you can play with it. I think you're way over that by end of year. I don't think that people have any concept of what's going on there. I really don't. The more I talk to people, it doesn't mean you're not going to get pullbacks and I'm not going to whack it around, but you're going to get there. Yeah, maybe they're going to say, look, guys, we're going to give you a free pot. I don't know. They're trying everything, man. So, and why? Like, I mean, for what purpose? I don't see any reason. Utes I was looking at, but we don't see anything going there. All right, I got to jump, guys. Trade to win today.